Yo, what's going on, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Today we're going to be doing a reaction video to not necessarily a top hair metal albums ranking list or songs list. We're going to be doing something a little bit different. I came across this video and I was like, this might be something good to see. I want to see how underrated the rock life here, the channel. I don't know this guy's name, but hopefully he has some good underrated hair metal bands for us and hair metal albums. So I'm quite interested to see. I am watching it right along with you guys. So like I don't know his name. Hopefully we can figure that out. It doesn't say it in the description here. But let us jump into this video and see what underrated hair metal albums he has for us. This is going to be fun.
Hey, Paul here from Paul Lydell's Scream Therapy, and you are watching the Crash Course Metal Show with Trevor Crash Knight.
Video gonna show you 10 albums from underrated bands of the hair metal era. No Poison, no Rat, no Motley Crue, no Guns N' Roses. Only the different stuff. Only the hidden gems.
Thank you. We are tired of hearing about Motley Crue and Poison and Bon Jovi and all that.
First band on the list is one a band called Baton Rouge. The name of the album, Shake Your Soul. They are an American band from Louisiana, name of the state's capital. And they released 3 studio albums. Shake Your Soul is the first one, and they disbanded by the mid 90s, like many other bands from the list. Shake Your Soul was released by Atlantic Records in 1990. They have an explosive open 3 of tracks, Doctor, Walks Like a Woman, and Big Trouble. And Kelly Kinley's voice is very particular, and it's a mix of Aerosmith with also like bit of Guns N' Roses type of sound. And they have everything else that a hair metal band had on that era. They have the acoustic instrumental, the Midge. They have the ballads About Time. They have a track named after a girl, Melanie. And Babe So Cool is my favorite track of the album. Cats in Boots.
Yes, I agree with him. Baby So Cool is one of my favorite songs as well off of the debut album. Now, yes, check out, guys, Lights on the Playground from 91, Baton Rouge's second album. Very good too, but yes, the Shake Your Soul is the best album that Baton Rouge has did. They did do a 1997 album too, but that was kind of like unreleased stuff, and it was actually half decent. It didn't sound like 1997. Kelly still sounded fine and such, but like obviously it wasn't the same. I think Kelly might have been really the only original guy left, if I can remember correctly. But yeah, no, first one looks good, dude. Good one.
Boots, Kicked and Klawed. It's a short-lived Japanese slash American group formed by the guitarist Takashi Jum Ohashi and the bassist Yasuhiro Butch Hate. They were from a successful band from Tokyo, and they linked up with the vocalist Joe Ellis from Cleveland, Ohio, and the drummer Randy Mears from Houston, Texas. The guys from America flew to Tokyo, they released a demo, and they got signed with EMI Records. Kicked and Claw was the only album from the band released in 1989. Raw, energetic, mix of hard rock and punk. Very good guitar riffs from blends hard rock, punk rock, also trash in the mix of Bang, Motley Crue, Aerosmith. Standouts from the album with Shotgun Sally, Her Monkey, Evil Angel. They were mildly successful in Japan, but they got much recognition in the US and the rest of the world. Alice left right after, and the band dissolved. He Can Plow. It is a hell of the album. Third name on the
I agree. I do enjoy Cats and Boots, and they are underrated. I agree, but they're just not one of my favorites. Like I like Joe Ellis is great. Like we had him on and interviewed him like last year now, and but if you're not aware of Joel's next band with Frankie Banelli and Gary Hoey, Heavy Bones, that album is so awesome from 1992. Certainly a top 50 hair metal album, in my opinion. Awesome stuff. But nonetheless, like I had Cats and Boots. I had it ever since I was a teenager. But there's some songs on there that are kind of weak in my opinion on that album. But nonetheless, like this that's a good choice. I'm not gonna give him any kind of crap for having Cats and Boots on this list at all. Good. I'm happy with it.
The list is a band called Saraya, led by the vocalist Sandy Saraya. They formed in 1987, and the album I'm talking about is the debut album, self-titled, in 1989. They are from New Jersey, and then they released the album by Polygram Records. The curious thing about that is that Saraya was very related with, not related, but was marketed as a sex symbol next to Big Almighty Bon Jovi. Maybe on this list is Saraya is a little bit more melodic compared with the other albums. They have a heavy use of keyboards and occasionally guitar-driven tracks. Focus on Sandy's voice, of course, and the big hit of the album is "Love Has Taken Its Toll," and they have the ballad "Gypsy Child," more of a hard rock sound called "Get You Ready" and "Running Out of Time," and there was a piano instrumental called "Alsace Lorraine." They released another album in 1991 called "When the Blackbird Sings," but Saraya did not become the woman version of it. Fourth.
Yeah, so Saraya is I have both their albums, or the first two. I will say I actually have To Sing Like a Blackbird in my car right now, and I am super impressed with that because I wasn't necessarily impressed with their debut. Uh, I like it, but it's not one that I always go back to, or like I'm like, oh, I gotta listen to this or listen to that. Like Drop the Bomb, I think, but like one of the last tracks on the debut is really good. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's good stuff on the debut, but like I think where a lot of my attention's going now is on their second album, and it has such like a bluesy feel to it too, and that's why like a sleazy bluesy feel to it. And obviously, 1991, that's you're right in the wheelhouse of that of sleaze.
Okay, fellas, let's try one with that Memphis sound. Deep inside my heart, take one.
Uh, I can agree. I'm agreeing with my man so far here. I'm happy. I'm happy with this video.
Name on the list is a band called Lilian Axe. I guess they're one of the fewer bands on the list that there is still.
Hair Basement Brian and Hair Metal Guru are getting the boner, I think, right now. After they just heard
active,
that.
They never really disband or finish their activities. They're an American group from New Orleans. 1998, they released the debut album called Lilian Axe, self-titled. They were formed in 1983, and they are a band less party-oriented and more melodic. They don't go too far from the Sunset Strip type of sound. Highlights for me: Misery Loves Company, Hard Luck, definitely heavy tracks, catchy melodies, beat choruses like Dream of a Lifetime, and also the acoustic ballad Nobody Knows. Although I'll say Love Plus War is more popular, the debut album is still the most impactful. Get in the middle of
Yeah, certainly Lilian Axe. I have all of their albums except the debut there that he's talking about. But Lilian Axe is just isn't a band that I visit a lot. And every time Hair Metal Guru and Basement Brian always talks about, I'm like, oh fuck, here we go again, But I mean, I'm sure I bring up bands and they get pissed off about too. So, but I mean, I don't get pissed off. But like Poetic Justice, I think is the album that I do gravitate to and pull out when I talk about Lilian Axe. So, I mean, I'm right there with it. I mean, they are a band that is forgotten, that people just don't know about, and I'm more than happy that he did put them on this list, and rightfully so.
the list, we're going to talk about Icon, Night of the Crime, released in 1985. Icon was a band that changed so much. They are known as the Schoolboys in 1979, and they're officially formed as Icon in 1981. They're from Phoenix, Arizona, and they changed a lot of the sound from the first album to the Night of the Crime and from the following records. But anyways, Night of the Crime is the second album under the Capitol Records label, and it is a true glam metal treasure. They feature more AOR oriented sound with strong influences from the synthesizers, keyboards. They have a less raw production comparing with the first album as well. Tracks like Naked Eyes and Hungry for Love really showcase what the album wants to be, or kind of like where the sound is going towards. But Danger Calling and Shot at My Heart really showcase guitar driven and what that era was wanted more at that time. Although they, like I say, they had really strong, and I think this album is one of the most underrated albums of the genre. As soon as they put this album, the vocalist Stephen Clifford left the band due to personal issues and difficult to find a new vocalist. After that, really caused the band to lose the record deal and then have trouble moving forward. Rough Cut.
Yes, I agree. Definitely Icon. I have both the albums that were on Capitol. Uh, I think I prefer the first one though. It's certainly a little bit heavier and not as mainstream sounding, like the Rock Life alluded to. Both are good. Both are good, but they are both good for different reasons. Like if you want a little bit more of a faster, a little bit heavier, go before Night of the Crime. If you want something a little bit more melodic, more mainstream, more digestible for your average music fan, even, not just your metalhead, certainly Night of the Crime is certainly what you would want out of the two. But yeah, Icon, good band. I'm happy with Icon. Good stuff.
Rough Cut Wants You. Rough Cut
Rough
had a
Cut.
brief existence during the 19.
I totally didn't plan that having it behind me here, guys. That was totally not planned. So, but that's badass. So we're thinking alike. I'm right. I'm right with them right now in this video. We're halfway through the video, and I'm happy with it.
80s, between 81 and 87, released 2 studio albums, self-titled debut in 1985 and Rough Cut Wants You in 1987. They never achieved commercial success as other groups from their hometown, which is LA. But one thing is that several members from the band passed through the band. They achieved success and fame with other acts, including Jake Lee with Ozzy. I think that's the biggest name. Paul Shortino with Quiet Riot, and Craig Goldie and Claude Schnell they play with Dio. The start of the band was really hard to find like a steady lineup, but after that they really put a solid lineup when they record Rough Cut Wants You, a mix of fast, party-oriented hard rock. They have an electric opening called Rock the USA. We Like It Loud, which is very straightforward. Groovy rhythms really showcase the work between the two guitar players, plus was the rhythm section and the vocals. As soon after they release Rough Cut Wants You, during Japan, vocalist Paul Sortino decided to leave the band during internal disagreements. He got replaced for someone else, but then after a year or two, the band disbanded and he never achieved the success that they wanted to. After, during the 2000s, Paul Sortino sort of put the band together, like most of a lot of those acts. They tried to kind of like do the revival with the golden era lineup, but Rough Cut could have been more. Now, if we're speaking about
Yes. Now that album, Rough Cut Wants You, I find to be the weaker of the two between the debut and that album. I always tend to go towards the debut. There are a couple good songs off of Rough Cut Wants You. Like I know like the ballad on there is really good. But I am a big fan of Paul Sorrentino in Quiet Riot for the 1988 self-titled album. That album is really good. That's like an underrated album as well. I think a lot of people like everyone wrote off kind of like Quiet Riot at that point, even with Kevin DeBro. But I think they certainly wrote Quiet Riot off with a new singer, and unfairly so, because that is a good album. Great ballads on there too. And then obviously after that, Quiet Riot kind of broke up, and then Frankie went and ended up in doing like Headless Children from Wasp, and also like Heavy Bones and shit like that. So yeah, I mean, Rough Cut, I'm with you. Good stuff.
short-lived careers, I have to talk about Heaven's Edge. Had a brief run from 87 to 92.
Philly Boys.
From Philadelphia. Only released one album under Columbia Records, with Mark Evans on the vocals, Reggie One on the guitar, Steve Perry on the guitar. Together they play. They try to put the band together. They play here and there, but again, another band that got forgotten as the years gone by. Tuff.
Yeah, Heaven's Edge, one of my favorite debut albums. Certainly from Pennsylvania, anyway. Philly Boys, Homeboys here. But yeah, great album. And now I forget who the hell I was talking to the last couple weeks. It might have been up at the Record Expo. But the reason why that album, Heaven's Edge debut album, was it should have been released like a year earlier, like in '89. but I think the drummer got shot in the stomach, and the band was like, "Hey, we're not gonna go on without you. We're not gonna record this album, and release and go on tour and stuff, without you." And so that's why they kind of waited. Whether that hurt them or not, that's up for debate. But total props to Heaven's Edge if all that was true that I was told. Um, like that's total props to them for waiting it out and making sure their bud was better and their bandmate to get back on the horse and put out a great album altogether. So awesome, awesome stuff. Rightfully so, being on underrated hair metal albums.
What comes around goes around. Unlike many bands on this list, Tuff never officially disbanded. They're forming Arizona in 1985. They released 3 studio albums and very talented quartet, especially with Evie Raquel vocals, and I do love George DeSaint as the guitar. And it's strong tracks like Lonely Lucy, Ain't Worth a Dime, You Guys Wear Black. Very, very heavy rock and roll edge, like very raw in the sense of punch in the face, with very strong influences from the 70s hard rock as well. Sort of like a mix. If you have to put 2 bands together, it's sort of like a Poison party styles and like a Warren emotional moments. Who knows what happened? Perhaps decline of popularity of the genre, lack of label support, absence of the solid follow-up album, fail into obscurity, and they never disband, like I say, but they never achieved the success that once hoped. 2 more names.
Yeah, Tough. What comes around goes around. Rightfully so, being on the underrated, but it's just one that I just don't visit that much. Like I have Tuff's second album as well, Fist First, and then also Religious Fix, which is like on a different label or something, and like a couple extra tracks on it. So I guess technically, like, I don't know if you would call it their third album, but like I have that too. But yeah, I mean, I like Tuff, but just not one that I just visit that much. And I think that album is kind of, there are weak spots on that album. Although like Wake Me Up is a great ballad. But to the Rock of Life's point, why they kind of didn't break is because like a week or two after I Hate Kissing You Goodbye came out, Smells Like Teen Spirit music video came out, and obviously everyone knows what happens after that, and it's just horrible timing and just a shame. It's just a shame that grunge happened, and there you go. So very cool. Good stuff. I mean, I'm cool with Tuff being on this
On the
list.
list, Von Groove with the self-titled Von Groove. It's a band from Toronto, Ontario, formed in 1990. It's a trio, a vocalist and drummer called Michael Shotton, a Croatian guitar player called Madeline. The self-titled debut album was released in 1992 with A&M Records, with Dean Castronovo on the drums. Although the album had all the ingredients to be a classic from the area, I think the rise of the grunge, especially in 1992, completely overshadowed this album. There's a powerful opener called Once Is Not Enough, which is one of the best tracks of the whole era for me. Standouts like House of Dreams and Better Than Ever makes the album worth listening for sure. And we also have to talk about the ballad. The ballad Once in a Lifetime is one of the standouts of all the ballads from the era as well. They went to release 6 more albums, the last one releasing in 2004, but never officially disbanded, but never actually became close to what they hoped for as well.
All right, so the Rock Life stumped me on this one because I do not have Von Groove, but they are from Canada, so I am having Rock and Danger coming on the show here, and they are from Canada, and I'm sure they will know who they are, and they might be able to get me a copy. I'm gonna have to look at that, see if I can find that. That's gonna be on the list for me to pick up to add to the physical collection here. But yeah, I mean, because like when you're talking about Canadian, you're talking about like Svengali, you're talking about Slick Toxic, you're talking about Big House, you're talking about Killer Dwarves, Kick Axe. Like there's some good Canadian bands hair metal bands out there, and that's one that slipped through the cracks, certainly. So I'm giving the Rock Life, big props on that because he stumped me on that one. So good deal. Just wanted to jump in here, guys, and say if you guys are still watching this video, thank you so much for watching the Crash Course Metal Show. Not just this video, but all the other videos that I post and upload. We appreciate you guys being here and helping to keep this, metal genre alive. And it takes every single one of you to help keep it alive as well. And guys, if you haven't yet, click the like button. It's still free to do. Come on, it just helps the algorithms and it helps us get to other fans that like this music as well, and also brings in fans that don't know that they are fans of this music as well. So click the like button and also share this video with a friend that that likes this style of music: hair metal, thrash metal, power metal, just heavy metal in general. Give it a share. Appreciate that. And also to click the subscribe button. Hang out with us, party with us for a little while. Let's build this community up. So that's all I wanted to say. We are going right back to the video, and thanks so much for watching.
Last name on the list, not the least important, Hurricane Alice. Tear the House Down. They're from Minnesota in 1984, and they went to several lineup changes before moving to LA in 87. Solidifying the roster and securing a deal with Atlantic Records led to the release debut called Tear of the House Down in 1990, featuring Bruce Nemon on vocals, Ian Mayo on bass, Danny Gill on guitar, Jack Ramos on drums. I think even though the album really showcased like what the band, the talent, and like how hard they're working and how good the band could sound, it lacks a lot of the production quality, which is not the cleanest, and also the releasing time, which was not the best. I think those two things were big reason Hurricane Alice never became something bigger. You still can listen to tracks like Wild, Young and Crazy, the Tear the House Down, and Shake Shake Shout. There is a mix of a raw punk and rock vibe. There's the ballad called I Walk Alone and also Dream Girl, but none of those standouts never really elevate the album in a very oversaturated early 1990s scene, about to collapse in 2 years. Nemon's vocals, they are very similar with Dave Coverdale. The guitar player is really good as well. Like, you can listen to Crank the Heat Up, which is can really see like a lot of the good things that he can do with the guitar. Again, for various reasons, the band disbanded, but Tear the House Down from Hurricane Alice is the last name on the list from a very good reason. Right, those were...
All right, yeah, Hurricane Alice, great album. Initially, when I was putting my top 50 hair metal albums list together, they did make the cut, but as time went on, after like the next couple weeks, they got kicked out for a couple other albums. So they were there for a short period, but yeah, the list isn't final though yet. I will say it's not final yet, guys, but keep an eye out for that. So let's see if he throws any more honorable mentions out here.
Were the 10 underrated hair metal albums, and we talk about hair metal, we talk about hard rock, and then the 80s, early 90s era, which there was a lot of good things, very oversaturated. Something that nowadays is not my favorite, but there's a lot of good things, especially for guitar work, for the talent, for the vocals. Hope you like those 10 albums. If anything I missed, put in the comments and let me know what kind of videos you wanted to see next. I'll see you soon.
All right, good deal. That's a good video. Good video, guys. The Rock Life. Check them out. I will give it a like right here, right now. Like. And I will subscribe too, because I want to see if he does any more like hair metal videos and stuff, or if he has any. I haven't looked through his catalog or anything yet. So definitely cool. I agree with all these albums. They are all underrated. They're all really good. But some, like I said, some of them I visit more, some of them I visit less. But I do own all of them except for the Von Groove one. But I'm gonna be looking. If it's not $100, I will pick it up. But sometimes we can't all get that lucky to find a out of print rare Canadian copy for less than that. So yes, definitely thank you, the Rock Life, for uploading this video and helping to keep this genre, the subgenre, alive. So good deal. So guys, if you enjoyed this reaction video, let me know in the comments if you want more reaction videos like this, and also what you guys think of the Rock Life's top 10 underrated hair metal albums. Very cool to see stuff like that, especially from younger people too. Like that's really cool to see. And definitely, guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, check out this one right here.
Yeah, I wrote that. It's called I Want to Rock Your Body. And then in parentheses it says to the break of dawn.